Well, good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Welcome. Happy Moon Day. Welcome to Moon Magic and Mindfulness with Grace. I haven't done that jingle in a while, but I'm so excited to be here. It is Monday, May 15th. Happy Mother all happy Mother's Day to you, to yours, to anyone who's nurtured you, mothered you. Taylor Swift had this same speech in her concert this weekend, and it was beautiful. And don't forget that we all have the ability to mother others and nurture and to work and collaborate in community, and the ability to create, which is the most exciting part that has to kind of do with divine feminine or the mother archetype or what, which is, the uterus where things, where babies get cooked, right? That bun in the oven. And the sacral chakra, where creativity just ensues, so on and so forth. So, yeah, it was a lovely weekend. Welcome, Cecilia, Curtis, and everyone else watching on YouTube. Like and subscribe. Thank you for joining us. Download the Fireside Chat app and join us on stage, on camera, and here. And welcome, Elizabeth just joined us, and I'm just so grateful. There's a lot happening, but it will be so good. I posted earlier that we have been anticipating this new moon in Taurus pretty much all year. And when I say we, I mean me, myself, and I, but in reality, all of us, and I'm gonna tell you why. And then we're gonna get into where the moon is all week, right? Um, this is the week that I spoke about when I told you that Jupiter enters Taurus for the first time in 12 years. So last time it was 2011. So it's a big deal. And it's going to be in Taurus for a year. So this is yet another opportunity to think about moving forward kind of as a brand new year, the year ahead. Here we are again. Happy New Year! Yay! I know that's actually going to be happening. I think it's tomorrow or Wednesday, but I'm excited because then on the same week we have the new moon, and it's like starting a new year with the opportunity to plant very specific seeds in this new moon happening on Friday. The first new moon in Taurus in a decade, which is another big deal. In reality, everything is a big deal. You're a big deal, so am I. We are each a big deal. And so everything is a big deal, right? Kind of like when we were kids and when we have kids or spend time with kids, and it's like every single thing they do, good job, yay, you did it. Well, there you go. Can we do the same for each other or for ourselves? But yes, new moon, new year, opportunities for growth. Now here's the thing, before we get into the moonology of it all, Jupiter, the planet of expansion, the planet that highlights and heightens and expands and multiplies and just kind of it's extra, right? This planet is not only going to do all those things for the good, but it could do all of those things, magnify, expand, an abundance of the negative thing. So I feel like this new moon has a lot riding on it if you want a positive, healthy, um, right? Positive and healthy. What's better than that? Year moving forward, and how responsible we're going to be with the seeds that we plant or with the habits that we are nurturing, like the seeds that we plant, um, moving forward. So, yes. Now, we've also talked about how some weeks astrologically are super dramatic, and then the next week seems to be a little bit more at ease, and this seems to be that example. We can't really forget that we just ended the eclipse season and how transformational that was. Today I thought to myself, the transformation is obviously not done. Like, I found myself toying with the thought of, like, if we were in a simulation. And if you spend a lot of time on Twitter, there's so much talk about AI and ChatGPT and um, quasi sci-fi stuff. That's what I'm going to call it. That I tend to not necessarily engage with, but there it is. And so my eye catches it and I read it, right? And so if we were in a simulation, I feel like this lifetime is that chrysalis or that cocoon where the caterpillar actually like boils into something else and then becomes a butterfly. So is the transformation ever done? I don't think so, right? But we get these ups and downs of like, dang, this is really hard. And then, but because here's the thing. Yeah, I love it. Here's the thing. You go uphill and you're listening to the lesson and you're getting the lesson and you're catching the lesson out of the corner of your eye, lol, and you're figuring the lesson out of the pieces and you're reading the clouds and doing all these things, and then you get to a moment where you feel like, great, I got it, there's the lesson, I get it this time. And then there's a moment, there's like a slight moment of like free routing, free cruising, like, yay, we did something great, and now it's like another something else, right? We talked about this as well. It just never ends. The beauty of it. So it is moon day. The moon is waning in preparation to the new moon, so it is getting smaller, right? It's like the phone. It's like, you know, it's this way right now, and waxing, it's this way. And so right now, the moon, the waning crescent wants you to remember that slow and steady wins the race. And I think this is also a great thought moving into everything that's happening this week astrologically. See, here's the thing. The sun is in Taurus, the moon is in Taurus, Jupiter is in Taurus, Mars is in Taurus, and Uranus is in Taurus. So there's a lot going on this one planet. And then we also have all of the squares, which I've already told you, it's negative connotation, right? With Pluto, which is like dun dun dun, life or death kind of planet, transformation kind of planet. Um, I feel like Pluto tends to be the villain that comes and squashes us um, with its heel, like we are a tiny helpless roach. Pluto, yeah, that's the vibes with Pluto. And so square means complete opposition and heart heart stuff, right? I can do heart things though, right? So there's there's beauty in the process. And so when Mars enters Leo opposite Pluto next Saturday, right after the new moon, it might that's the beautiful word, right? It might cause or stir up anger, defensiveness, and just negativity in general. So it could lead to a lot of drama, everything that happens this week, or it could not. So let's go to the moon, and then we're going to discuss the questions for the new moon happening on Friday. And as you all know, we are following the Moon Magic and Mindfulness with Grace 2023 manifestation agenda / journal, available on Amazon. And today, the waning moon is in Aries. And I also feel like it's so beautiful how this moon is ushering us into this transit with Jupiter entering into this new year, quote unquote, new year, for those of you listening on Spotify, I do that, right? Those air quotes. And Mercury went direct yesterday. Yay to Mercury. We survived the first Mercury retrograde of the year. 3 more to go, right? Because it happens like 4 to 5 times a year. But yay, we did it, right? Yeah, the moon in Aries really wants you to remember that. So Aries is a fire sign, right? And it's about decision making. It's about, do you take a moment to really ponder and discern? And do you really know what your values are, so that then when things come up, you take a moment to ponder and discern whether this thing that came up is aligned with your values, right? For that, you have to figure out your values first. All of these planets on Taurus means that everything that has to do with values, ideals, how you connect those two together is going to be highlighted. How you find comfort, how you handle your finances, because those are the things that Taurus represents, stands for, is identified with, what do you want to call it, right? And so all of those things are highlighted every moment with every opportunity that's going to come up. You might want to figure out where Taurus is on your chart, and what it could mean according to everything else, right? Where everything else falls on your chart as well. Where's Pluto on your chart? Where's every transit? That's how you figure out how it affects you specifically. You look at your chart. And so the moon in Aries wants you to remember to ponder and discern before you make rash decisions. And this is a great lesson on this particular moon day as we go tomorrow, I think it is, or Wednesday, tomorrow, with the Jupiter in Taurus, because Jupiter is going to present a lot of opportunities, right? That's the planet, that's what that planet does. And it'll be opportunities for growth the hard way if you're not in tune and aligned and, I don't know, connected. And it's going to be opportunities for growth in a positive and, epic way. And I use the word epic because I'm talking about Jupiter, right? Not just because I love the word. And so which one is going to be your case, right? How are you going to really be present, which takes us to the mindfulness practices that hopefully you have been building up little by little. And precisely for moments like this one, I feel like, where you are called into, like, really, I feel like, gear up your loins. I think the scripture says gird up your loins, but it's like brace yourself, gather your troops, get ready, because it's not about going into battle, but just going into action, because Mars is also influencing all of this, and Mars is the planet of action. And I remember Jessica Laniato in Ghost of a Podcast, and she reposted me today. What? Jessica Laniato mentioning that because it's your values that are being highlighted with everything that's happening in Taurus, you want to really align your values with what you decide to do with your plan, so that when you really commit to taking action, it's action that will really bring about just positivity in general. Let's just call it that. We don't need to get into what it will bring about. You know what you want. So, and what you value. Is it aligned with, the highest good of all, or your highest good? Like, are you putting people in jeopardy because of what you're trying to bring about? Or are you really pondering things from all angles before you make these decisions? So, food for thought. And Taurus, body, right? Because Taurus is an earth sign. So there's things happening with Neptune in Pisces, and then Mercury is in Cancer. And so those two water signs are inviting us to ponder spirituality this week. And I feel like that's a concept that I right? We all know I love spirituality. So when I hear Jessica or Chani on the Astrology of the Week podcast talk about connecting with your spirituality, somebody like me says, okay, what do I need to do? Read scripture this week, ponder that, ponder a question, ponder a prayer, right? Like we know, or I know what action steps I can actually put in place to connect with, or in a spiritual sense, this week because it's been advised. So, how does that look like for you? When was the last time you did this? We just went from a Mercury retrograde. We just came from that. And the Mercury retrograde invites you to go back and to revisit, reponder, right? And hopefully learn and pivot from, right? Not necessarily get stuck in the past. But now that it's direct, it's still going to invite you to ponder things because it's in retro shade until the end of the month. And what that means is that it's reversing itself in its own shadow. And it kind of triggers some of the effects from the retrograde. It's so fascinating, isn't it? Like so complicated, fascinating. I don't even know what to call it. But anyway, um, Mercury and Neptune in water signs, spirituality. How are you doing that? If you don't do that, if you're listening, I doubt that if you're listening to this particular show, you just don't care about spirituality because I feel like anything related to the moon really calls for that, or at least emotional intelligence. But when was the last time you went to nature, you pondered a prayer, or just I don't know, meditated? How about that? How about we just limit it to meditation? We don't even need to call it spirituality for now. Wink, wink, wink. There you go. Meditate. When was the last time you did that? When was the last time you sat down with yourself, with your thoughts as above, and really pondered what happens when you're in your thoughts? And then, of course, everything that's happening in Taurus is highlighting the so below because Taurus is an earth sign, right? So it's highlighting your comfort, your sense of accomplishment that are visual, your material possessions. Absolutely, Taurus will highlight that, or lack thereof. Your finances are, I said that earlier, so how you handle those or not. Um, Debt because of Pluto. Remember, I mentioned Pluto, and Pluto is life or death. Dun dun dun. So, also debt will be highlighted, not just this week with this transit, but all year with Jupiter in Taurus. So, there you go. And after the moon is in Aries, it's going to move into Taurus, right? That's where the new moon is happening. And then it goes into Gemini. And the moon in Gemini, Gemini is an air sign. We've talked about this as well. And so the moon in Gemini wants to be very creative, very expressive. The moon in Gemini might be a little spontaneous and fun, might when I hear the word fun, I also sometimes ponder, years of tons of fun I had in an irresponsible way. So irresponsibility, especially with Pluto happening opposite Mercury in Leo, just the day that the moon goes into Gemini. But I feel like whatever happens in an air sign during Taurus season, oh, you know what? You know what the most interesting thing is? I just realized that on Sunday, the sun and the moon are going to be in Gemini, and that's going to be a whole nother conversation. So I'm going to leave that. Yeah, I'm going to leave that for next moon day. But by the end of this week, the moon is going to be in Gemini, and the sun is still going to be in Taurus Saturday on the 20th. And so whatever happens with Gemini as an air sign, I feel like Taurus can ground it. And with the influence of Taurus this week, I feel like it's a very an opportunity to, if you have a grounding practice, tap into it daily, hopefully. And if you don't, then really ponder what you're going to do about it moving forward in the next year, how you can really ground yourself because you want the opportunities that Jupiter will bring by entering Taurus to be good, prosperous, a blessing for you and yours, right? You want to be able to share and bless others. And so how are you going to nurture the seeds Well, I mean, let's start from the beginning. How are you going to prepare the soil to plant the seeds? You have until Friday to prepare the soil. And then Friday, we're going to plant the seeds. And so, are those seeds gonna sprout beautiful blessings for you and yours or something else? Let's see what Curtis has to say about all this, and then we're going to go into the affirmations and questions for the new moon. Hi, Curtis.
Hey, I love Taurus because we're all Tauruses. Well,
Mm-hmm.
between us, but going with the Earth, um, being creative. I don't know if that's coming through,
Yeah, I hear it.
but yeah, the seeds are planted. Growth is opportunity, and especially hearing the wonderful.
Are you there?
Yes, I
Oh.
was just trying to think how I wanted to speak it because it's raw and uncut. Um, Hearing your lovely voice and giving wonderful information to everyone. But you, me, and I believe Elijah is also a Taurus.
That's
So
right.
this is a pretty powerful episode. It's great. And I'm glad that everything's going the opposite. What did you with what you discussed? It's recirculating, and then Jupiter, like when you have all these planets aligned, it's just something
Well, they're not
special.
aligned. They're all just doing their thing. I'm not saying they're in alignment, but we're
No.
hoping to align with our values this week.
Yes. Oh, yes. Okay. Yeah. Gotcha. All right. Well, at this point, Curdy's gonna say goodbye, but
Thank you,
I love you.
Curtis.
I love you for having me up.
Bye. Love you. Have a great evening.
You too.
All right. I see Ron just joined us. Welcome, Ron. So excited that you're here. You are here just in time to discuss the new moon questions. Now, if you all would like to join me to journal and paint next, no, next, sorry, this coming Friday. There you go. That's what I wanted to say. On Instagram at songofmyself.ig. We journal the questions. And then in the book, here's a space where you can answer all of the questions and then you can paint over it. Here's one of them. They're all over the room. And but I in part I made the book because I was like, if I don't make the book, they're gonna be all over the house by the end of the year. Because right there's 24 of them by the end of the year, one for every full moon and one for every new moon. This is what we do in moon magic and mindfulness with Grace. We like to journal and paint, and you might wonder, like, oh my gosh, that's so random. Why would she want to do that? And there's lots of reasons I guess I could come up with about why I encouraged you to journal and paint all in the same book. But this is about all of the mindfulness practices that are in this one simple thing, that you get to carry with you and take with you everywhere. It has over 100 journal promptings that you get to then journal about. And then every Monday, Moon Day, you get an affirmation that we're going to get into. And every new moon and full moon, you get an affirmation or two as well. And, you know, the one on Moon Day, don't just read it on Moon Day and move on or repeat it. Like, write it on a notepad, notepad, journal, write it on a sticky note, put it in the mirror, and read it throughout the week. That was kind of, my intention. But The moon day, thank you. The moon day affirmation for today is I move gently through my growth journey. I move gently, slowly, right? Slow and steady wins the race. That's what the moon wants you to know today. I move gently through my growth journey. I am guided and protected. You've heard me say this as an affirmation in many a meditation we have had here. And then the journal promptings for the new moon happening this Friday in Taurus, and then join me on Instagram to paint, are how am I making sure that I enjoy the blessings in my life? Why am I asking this? Well, if you don't already kind of are aware, acknowledge, and then practice that gratitude for the blessings that you already have, which is what this question is inviting you to do. How are you making sure that you enjoy the blessings in your life? First, you have to acknowledge them, look at them, identify them, right? Then how do you expect to get more? There you go. What about my plans? What about my plans, which means you have to make plans first? What about my plans seems unrealistic? And the reason why I bring that up is because with that impetus of, wow, it's Jupiter, that just comes to really make you feel like you're a superstar and that, right? And that every idea you have is genius. Maybe not. Maybe the second or third idea, right? And so, and when I do this, thank you. When I do this, I really feel like I'm making a giant bubble, like as big as Jupiter. It's ridiculous, but it just really feels that way, right? So imagine what Jupiter can do. Um, and so, what about my plans seem unrealistic, and how can I modify this according to my resources? I love how I make these questions in reverse. I wonder if everyone feels the same way about it. Probably not. It's just Jupiter making me feel like my questions are genius. Oh, it's going to be a great year. And then what previous intentions? This is an interesting question because the fact that Jupiter is in Taurus for the first time since 2011, and this is the first new moon in 10 years, means that we have an opportunity as well to ponder where we were those times and what plans did we have, what plans have you I asked this a few weeks ago, what plans have you worked on and what plans have you completely disregarded, ignored, and what plans are you ready to let go of, cut cords with? The previous eclipse was perfect for cutting cords because of the full moon. Let go, release, right? No more. And so, what previous intentions are now getting in the way of your progress? So, things that you may have committed to in those years, things that you may have started, things that you may have planned and put so much value, not in the sense of like that you value that, but that you put weight on it. You valued it. You held it to high esteem. That's what I mean. And now maybe getting in your way because you're a different person. 12 years later, duh, 10 years later, obviously, you're not who you were yesterday. You're obviously not who you were a decade ago. And so, how are previous intentions that may be coming up or that came up, in the previous new moon because the Mercury was in retrograde, how is it getting in the way of your progress now? And how can you snip, snip, snip if that's what you're going to do? How are you going to reevaluate moving forward? Bada bing, bada boom. That's it. And then the affirmation is I embrace each moment as an opportunity for a fresh start or a new lesson and definitely an added blessing, right? I mean, that just goes without saying. Every moment is an opportunity to be grateful, and every moment is an added blessing to the ones that preceded it. And that's really a question of mindset. And when it comes to affirmations, these are the types of things I tell myself. And it just keeps me going. So, how about you try it? And maybe it will help. So, that's it. that is really, this is the beauty of having a week filled with sextiles and trines, I think it's called. No, I forgot. But sextiles and trines are very supportive energy. So even though it's a mumbo jumbo of planets doing their thing out there and getting together, and I love it when there's a sextile because it's supportive energy, meaning whatever comes, that whatever lesson comes with that sextile, it's gonna come with kindness and tender loving care, right? And in a very nurturing way. And when you add to that energy a moon in Cancer, for example, which is not going to happen until next week, I think, then it becomes even more nurturing and beautiful, right? And so this week, even though there's a lot happening, it's all in that tender loving care kind of, I'll lay you down easy, kill you with kindness type of vibe. And then we have the Mars entering Leo opposite Pluto Saturday. So just watch out for that. Watch out for temper tantrums and you feeling defensive, or Leo is about pride. Leo wants to be put on a pedestal. Leo wants to be, we've talked about this when our friend Taryn is in the room, because she's a Leo and she always says that I'm so on the dot when I say that, Leo wants to be loved and adored, and this is, people identify with that. And the thing that Leo represents for all of us is that phase that we put to the plant, to the world. I know that that's our sun sign as well, but Leo itself is all about that pride in community and how you are in service of the community or not, and how you can be of assistance, but really it's not just you being of service but getting the pat in the back. Leo wants that pat on the back, that yay, thank you so much for doing that. And so with Mars, the planet of action, opposite Pluto, as Mars enters Leo, it may really be a ruckus of, I deserve better, so I'm going to throw a tantrum. Or I just don't deserve this, so I'm going to flip the table. Or I don't know. Pluto, like I said, is very life or death. So it's going to also highlight Jessica Lanyadoo. I remember her warning against addictions, and because of Jupiter, then excess of the things that we may be addicted to or tapping into, the substances, so on and so forth. So the week is supportive, but at the end of it, with the sun entering Gemini, it might get a bit dramatic. So just really ponder what seeds you want to plant. Ponder a positive new year, quote unquote, new year. And here we go again. So it's going to be wonderful. And that concludes our our mooncast. There you go. I don't know why I went blank just now. But let's go ahead and meditate, shall we? Let's meditate so that we can all have a great evening. Thank you, y'all. Thank you so much for sharing and for asking questions and DMing. If you are listening, before we get to our meditation, I wanted to remind you all that if you become a Patreon or subscriber for $5 a month, you not only get an audio meditation that you get to keep and listen to whenever, and they tend to be a little bit more extensive or in depth than the ones we do live, right? Because that's for the subscribers. And a mindfulness handout, but you also get the PDF file of the printable version of the book so that you can print it at your own leisure, or you can just print the pages that you want to paint, and then you have the questions there, or you can print the pages for your agenda. And so, for example, this week for the subscribers, I will be sending them the month of June, because I've already sent out the month of May for this book, right? So just so you know, the link is in the description below, or in the bio, or in the link tree, or Yes, in the bio or in the link tree. There you go. Or in the fortune cookie. That's what I meant to say. So, feet on the ground. Music for this meditation is brought to you by Brain FM. Also,
all right. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Thank you. Feet on the ground. Focus your attention on your normal breathing. Settle into the present moment and just sit comfortably. Try to align your spine or stretch your shoulders. And follow my lead. With me, take a deep breath in through your nose. Deep, 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 deep breath in all the way. Hold it at the top. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let it out through your mouth. Nice and slow. We're not in a hurry. Just breathe out. Slow breath out. Hold it again. 1, 2, 3, 4. And breathe in again. Right away, just take a deep breath. All the way, deep breath in. Hold it at the top. 1, 2, 3, 4. And breathe out through your mouth. Let it go all the way till you have no air. Hold it again. 1, 2, 3, 4. And relax. And if you feel like gasping, go ahead and just gasp. And settle your breath. And as you settle your breath, I want you to envision or imagine that your most loved and trusted people are with you on your hands and knees on the dirt in a community garden. And you each have your bags and your tools and your kits and your shovels and your fertilizer. And some people brought plants. And some people brought seeds. And some people brought vegetables. What did you bring to this lot assigned to you for the next year, ready to receive all the intentions, ideas, and plans that you really want to solidify and earth and bring to life for the next year. And so everyone peacefully and industriously works on their little plots of land. With me, take a deep breath in through your nose. Long, deep breath. Fill your lungs. Hold it at the top. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let it out through your mouth. Nice and slow. All the way. Long breath out. Hold it again. 1, 2, 3, 4. And breathe in again once more. Through your nose. Deep breath in. Hold it at the top. 1, 2, 3, 4. And breathe out. And as you breathe out, I want you to ponder these affirmations. You can place your hand on your heart. You can actually create a smile on your face and repeat them. I move gently through my growth journey. I am guided and protected. I embrace each opportunity as a fresh start, a new lesson, and an added blessing. I am so grateful and so loved. With me, take one last deep breath in through your nose. Long, deep breath. Hold it at the top. 1, 2, 3, 4. Long breath out through your mouth. Slow breath out. Hold it again. 1, 2, 3, 4. And breathe in again one last time. Long breath in. Hold it at the top. 1, 2, 3, 4. And breathe out. And as you breathe out, nice and slow, just bring your awareness to your body, this present moment. Slowly open your eyes and come back to me. And make sure to really ponder your values and how your life is aligned with everything that you want to accomplish. It is harder than I make it sound right now. Totally. But thank you. Thank you all for coming. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for your questions and comments and DMs. Happy Mother's Day again. Thank you for all of your messages and for your support. And I will see you next Moon Day. As the sun enters Gemini, a new season begins, and we will discuss all about it next Moon Day here on Moon Magic and Mindfulness with Grace. Thank you again for YouTube subscribing or commenting. Thank you for sharing from Spotify. And if you want to join us like Curtis did and be a part of the show and maybe even be on camera, then you have to download the Fireside Chat app. Just click on Fireside. Well, I guess you have to search Fireside on your App Store or Google Play Store and download. I love you all. Thank you so much. See you next Moon Day. Bye.